Are you feeling uncertain about your relationship? Do you ever feel like something's not quite right, but you can't quite put your finger on it? It might be time to take a closer look at the dynamics between you and your partner. In this video, we'll be exploring the wise teachings of Miyamoto Musashi to help you identify 7 signs you're being manipulated by your partner. By understanding these warning signs, you'll be better equipped to protect yourself and maintain a healthy, balanced relationship. Sign 1. They use guilt trips. It is common for manipulators to use guilt as a weapon, so transforming the emotional terrain of a relationship into a battlefield. In the event that your spouse uses guilt trips, they are taking advantage of your conscience in order to exert control over your behaviors and emotions. It is possible that you may find yourself continuously apologizing or feeling inadequate, even for circumstances that are beyond your capabilities to change. This conduct may be harmful to your sense of self-worth and contribute to the creation of an unhealthy atmosphere. One of the lessons that Miyamoto Musashi teaches us is the need of having clear objectives. The importance of knowing oneself and one's own reasons for doing things is emphasized throughout the Book of 5 Rings. When you are conscious of your own ideals and values, you will be able to identify instances in which guilt is being used against you. For instance, if your spouse regularly brings up errors from the past in order to justify their demands, it is imperative that you maintain your integrity and not give in to their demands. Develop your assertiveness skills to fight the manipulation of guilt. Without giving in to unnecessary pressure, acknowledge the sensations that you are experiencing. The concept of Musashi urges us to face obstacles head-on, much as a warrior would do when they are engaged in combat. When confronted with guilt trips, it is important to express your limits in a loving and unambiguous manner. Your commitment is strengthened, and a precedent is established for more healthy communication within your partnership as a result of this. So, gaining a knowledge of and embracing this indicator gives you the ability to recover your emotional sovereignty. The lessons of Musashi serve to remind us that genuine strength does not manifest itself in surrender, but rather in the ability to stand strong against deceitful strategies. You may cultivate a relationship that is founded on mutual respect rather than emotional pressure if you acknowledge guilt trips for what they are and accept them for what they are. Sign 2. They gaslight you. In order to manipulate you and get you to doubt your senses and sanity, gaslighting is a manipulative technique that includes misrepresenting reality. There is a possibility that you are being gaslighted by your spouse if they persistently deny your experiences, distort the facts, or blame you for their actions. You may have emotions of perplexity and self-doubt as a result of this sort of manipulation, which may also cause your confidence to deteriorate. Throughout his philosophy, Musashi places a strong emphasis on the significance of self-awareness and observation. As you get a better awareness of your world, you develop the capacity to differentiate between truth and falsehood. One of the most important aspects of this awareness is trying to keep your thoughts and feelings as clear as possible. If you are experiencing gaslighting, it is important to take some time to reflect on your experiences and thoughts without letting your partner's story to obscure your own reality. Keeping a record of your experiences and feelings is an effective way to combat gaslighting. Establishing an objective reference point that verifies your emotions and perceptions is accomplished via the practice of maintaining a record. In order to triumph over obstacles, Musashi emphasizes that preparation and strategy are essential components. In a similar vein, being ready to handle gaslighting might help you feel more confident when you are having conversations with your spouse. Always keep in mind that your emotions are legitimate. Have faith in your own experiences, and make an effort to get insight into your feelings. In spite of the fact that it may be challenging, the teachings of Musashi inspire us to accept the truth. You may recover your power and defend yourself from the corrosive consequences of gaslighting by being steadfast in your connection to the world around you. Sign 3. They use emotional blackmail. Blackmailing someone emotionally is a nefarious kind of manipulation that includes making threats to take away their affection, acceptance, or support in order to exert control over their activities. You are probably being subjected to emotional blackmail if your spouse often tells you that your choices will have severe repercussions, such as expressing dissatisfaction or threatening to quit the relationship. Your capacity to make decisions freely is undermined by this strategy, which also contributes to an environment that is fraught with dread and worry. The necessity of having a clear head and acting decisively was something that Musashi believed in. When dealing with situations involving emotional blackmail, it is essential to evaluate the issue in a calm and deliberate manner. It is important to consider if the expectations of your spouse are in line with your own ideals and the general health of the relationship. Do you feel that you are being forced to make choices that will potentially harm your health? The lesson that Musashi imparts to us is to address such predicaments with clarity and conviction. For effective management of emotional blackmail, open communication should be practiced. Clearly communicate your emotions in a straightforward and confident manner, putting an emphasis on the need of mutual respect in the partnership. Through the establishment of boundaries, you are able to strengthen your autonomy and prohibit practices that are manipulative. Musashi's focus on strategy is applicable in this situation as well. An approach that has been well considered may help to alleviate the emotional upheaval that is created by extortion techniques. Recognizing this indication and reacting with strength and clarity will give you the ability to empower yourself. It is not fear and manipulation that you deserve, but rather a relationship that is founded on trust and respect. Your unwavering stance against emotional blackmail exemplifies the ideals of integrity and resiliency that Musashi advocated for throughout his whole life. Sign 4. They control your decisions. It may be a clear indication of manipulation if your spouse makes an effort to control your decisions, regardless of how large or how tiny they may be. A lack of respect for your autonomy is shown by conduct, such as managing your social relationships, job route, or even your everyday routines. This behavior manifests itself in a variety of domains. Your self-esteem and sense of who you are may undergo progressive erosion as a result of this control. The lessons that Miyamoto Musashi imparts place a strong emphasis on the significance of self-reliance and self-mastery. He was of the opinion that a fighter must, at all times, be faithful to their path and make choices that are in accordance with their convictions. Maintaining your uniqueness and autonomy within the context of a partnership is critical, especially when confronted with demands from the outside world. Take action to establish your right to make choices about your life in order to fight against this domination. You and your relationship should have open conversations in which you and your partner both express your wants and requirements. It is essential to have clear communication in order to explain your opinions and limits, and Musashi pushed for transparency in communication. Through the cultivation of a conversation that is founded on mutual respect, it is possible to progressively demolish dominating habits. The ability to recognize this indicator gives you the capacity to restore your agency. You are entitled to make decisions that are congruent with your identity and the goals that you have set for yourself. The sage advice of Musashi inspires us to remain firmly rooted in our beliefs, which enables us to manage the intricacies of interpersonal relationships with bravery and clarity. Sign 5. They isolate you. Putting you in a position where you are cut off from your friends, family, and other support networks is a strong kind of manipulation that requires you to isolate yourself. When your spouse constantly criticizes your social connections or puts pressure on you to spend all of your time together, this might be an indication that they have a manipulative ulterior motive. This strategy has the potential to result in emotions of isolation and dependence, so establishing a circular pattern of emotional control. The benefit of a robust community and network was something that Musashi was well aware of. He made it a point to surround himself with people that were beneficial to his own growth and development throughout his life. In a similar vein, it is essential for your mental health to foster and sustain relationships with your family and friends. Acknowledging the significance of these ties may be an effective means of combating feelings of loneliness. Make your social relationships a top priority in order to combat feelings of loneliness. Even if your spouse is against it, you should still spend time with your friends and family. Identify and cultivate a network of people who can encourage you and help you feel better about yourself. The teachings of Musashi emphasize the need of resiliency and adaptation, which are attributes that are necessary for preserving one's independence and social connections. Discuss the significance of maintaining a healthy balance in your social life with your spouse in an open and honest manner. Your ability to cultivate your connections outside of the partnership will be facilitated by the limits you establish. You are demonstrating that manipulation via isolation will not be permitted by doing this action, which is an assertion of your autonomy. Being able to empower oneself against feelings of solitude demands both bravery and dedication. It is a reflection of Musashi's view that the power that can be found in community and mutual support can be found in the fact that you develop a solid foundation for your emotional wellness by cultivating relationships that go beyond your partnership. Sign 6. They use silent treatment. A typical kind of manipulation is known as the silent treatment, which occurs when one spouse withholds communication from the other in order to punish or exert control over them. It may be difficult for you to freely express yourself if you are subjected to this sort of emotional manipulation, since it might generate an environment of tension and uncertainty. When your spouse engages in this activity on a regular basis, it should serve as a strong warning system. When it comes to preserving peace and understanding, Miyamoto Musashi highlighted the need of straightforward communication. In particular, when silence is used as a weapon, it creates obstacles that impede the development of good discourse. It is of the utmost importance to acknowledge that efficient communication serves as the foundation of every connection that is flourishing. In order to combat the silent treatment, it is important to promote open discussion. Take a moment to carefully communicate your thoughts and the effect that your partner's silence has had on you when they withdraw from you. Because the philosophy of Musashi fosters proactive participation, you should be ready to face the problem head-on in order to create an atmosphere in which both parties feel heard and respected. Moreover, it is important to be aware that the manipulation in question often originates from more fundamental problems within the relationship. Taking action to address the underlying issues will allow you to move toward a dynamic that is more positive. The lessons that Musashi teaches about self-reflection may serve as a guide for this process, urging both partners to examine their actions and the reasons behind them. Having the ability to recognize the silent treatment for what it is gives you the ability to advocate for more healthy patterns of communication. Through the cultivation of an open discussion, it is possible to construct a connection that is based on trust, respect, and comprehension, which is reflective of the values that Musashi held sacred. Sign 7. They constantly criticize you. Continuous criticism is a sort of manipulation that is imperceptible but devastating, and it has the potential to damage your sense of self-worth and self-esteem. It is possible for your spouse to create a poisonous atmosphere in which you feel worthless and uncomfortable if they regularly point out your shortcomings or minimize your accomplishments. However, this conduct is not an indication of love. Rather, it is a reflection of difficulties that are deeply rooted inside the two of them. The concept of self-improvement and mastery is central to the concept of personal development, as taught by Musashi. Developing the strength that is essential to follow your path may be accomplished by surrounding oneself with people who are positive and supportive. The presence of a spouse who is continuously critical of you is detrimental to your development and stifles your potential. Engaging in open talks about the influence that their comments have on your emotional well-being is an effective way to overcome the continual criticism that you get. In order to differentiate between helpful comments and destructive criticism, you need established limits. In this situation, the importance of Musashi's focus on clarity and directness cannot be overstated. Approach the discussion with honesty and a commitment to achieving mutual comprehension. Moreover, you should work on enhancing your self-esteem outside of the context of the relationship. In order to cultivate a feeling of self-worth, it is important to participate in activities that highlight your unique abilities and interests. Both self-discipline and tenacity are abilities that may assist you in overcoming negative influences and manipulation, and Musashi was a firm believer in the efficacy of both traits. Your ability to regain your self-esteem and establish your value is facilitated by the realization that persistent criticism is a kind of manipulative conduct. You may build a healthy relationship dynamic by emphasizing your own personal growth and encouraging open communication. This will fit with the ideals and ideas that Miyamoto Musashi advocated for. You will be able to manage your relationship with more awareness and resilience if you have a better grasp of the behaviors that have been highlighted, which include guilt trips, gaslighting, emotional blackmail, controlling choices, isolation, silent treatment, and continual criticism. Understanding that self-awareness, clear communication, and steadfast integrity are the three pillars of strength. We gain this knowledge by drawing inspiration from the teachings of Miyamoto Musashi. Our relationships should not reduce our sense of self-worth or autonomy. Rather, they should encourage us to develop and prosper. The cultivation of the fortitude to face manipulation and the establishment of limits that encourage mutual respect and understanding may be accomplished by adopting the concepts of Musashi. It is important to keep in mind that a real relationship is built on the foundation of trust, support, and genuine connection. These are traits that develop when both persons are steadfast in their faith and ideals. Participate in the process of self-exploration and development, and give yourself the ability to cultivate connections that are both healthy and fulfilling. You will not only be honoring your own well-being when you recognize these indicators and take quick action, but you will also be paving the way for a future that is filled with love, respect, and commitment to authenticity.